Hey guys, Chris here with Work to Game, and today I'd like to talk a little bit more about Anthem. Now, all we know so far is that the date's been postponed. There's been a lot of speculation and everything that they don't think it would be pushed more than one more fiscal year, so that basically means about a year from today. But releasing anytime between now and then, we don't really know. There's no hard rule that they can't release, not within that fiscal year, though I can understand why that's a logical conclusion to come to. But let's talk about some things. Just like I have before, we're going to do it just like a Q&A or a community feedback, where we're going to talk a little bit about the responses of Brenon Holmes. He's done a great job of kind of responding on Reddit on behalf of kind of Anthem and the development team, and he gives us a little more insight than I've really seen from anywhere else without too much speculation. So the first thing is that somebody asked if there's going to be a beta, and he responded by saying, yes, there was a previous post, September 26th of 2017, where somebody did say, yes, they'll have a beta. Then we move on to battle damage. This is something we've been talking about. It's a little unclear on whether or not we can incorporate it into the final shader solution, but I think we are definitely interested in something like this. That would be really exciting, especially since our avatars look like they're mostly going to be these kind of suits. It's very easy for that to not be very personal and everything to look very cold. It's something that I feel like racing games kind of struggle with, is I'm not really attached to the world because it always just looks so perfect. So if we could have something like that, it would be awesome. But I don't think I want it to just be like a damaged texture over the top. I'd prefer it to actually kind of change the model in some way. Maybe they have pieces that can kind of fall off. It's nice to know that they're considering this. This game looks like it's going to be graphically just beautiful and impressive. So if they're taking advantage of some powerful machines, is there room for that? I don't know. But cool that they're thinking about it. Bioware is going all in on Anthem. Yes, when you talk about Mass Effect and all these other things that have kind of come out and performed at certain levels, and then you compare that to games like Destiny where they've flopped, I think a lot of these studios are totally aware of what's going on as far as their budget goes. We've seen the budget for games skyrocket because the revenue skyrocketed, but there's really not, in my opinion, a direct correlation there. There are plenty of games that are coming out whose budgets aren't astronomical that they're making that kind of same ballpark of money. So as they try to justify the higher expenses without really being able to guarantee higher profits, you see certain studios really feel the pinch. And I think Anthem is going to be one of those games that really determines whether or not this studio lives or dies in its current state. Now, these people are guaranteed jobs anywhere they go. You see people moving all the time. The Anthem team is hiring every 6 months as they kind of gear towards production. You also see people leaving for other jobs. It is a big industry. And so even if Anthem tanks and this team gets dissolved, they will be absorbed into other parts of the industry. And so if there's somebody you like, if there's somebody you want to follow, a story writer or a game designer or something like that, you can pretty much trust that they're just going to pop up somewhere else. And so that would be worth trying to kind of follow them. But I don't think that's really worth concerning. But I do like that Brenon Holmes responded with, yep, the offices in Austin are really nice. So kind of just a playful jest with, yes, they're spending a lot of money on us, but I don't know why that changes whether or not we're going to show up and work hard, and why that changes whether or not we want to build a good game. Would you rather an MMO-style weapon system that focuses more on stats, or would you rather have a progression-based system that levels up the weapon and armors as you use it? This is a big question. Brenon Holmes responds with, one advantage to having a more static model is that it's a lot easier to entice players into different styles of gameplay. You find something new, it's more powerful than what you have, you give it a go. Alternatively, with things that grow in power over time, you tend to get a lot more attached to the items you have. They start to form as part of your identity of your character. A lot of it depends on the progression goals, and currently we're working with both styles. So yes, this is a huge question. It is a big design question, and he didn't really say left or right. It kind of sounded like there's going to be aspects of both. So I like that in games like a Destiny game or something like that, or a Call of Duty, that when I unlock a new gun, I go give it a shot. Because it could be better, right? In The Division, I change game types, I change gun types all the time, which it just makes sense. It just absolutely, you're doing more damage. Go give it a shot. But then if you don't like it, you have to go back, and that's kind of a bummer. So I like that system for games that have guns because it forces you to try different fire rates and things like that. But I also like a progression where I feel like the longer I play with a gun, maybe I get good with that type, maybe I have attachments for that particular gun, things that I can do to like level that gun up. So if that gun is, say we're on a level system, so that's a level 5 weapon, I really like the fire rate and the range and stuff, but when I hit level 6, it's no longer a valid gun. Then I hit level 7, 8, man, this thing just totally gets tossed into the trash. It's also nice to have some sort of system where there's a way to kind of bring that up. So at level 10, I get to start using that gun again, or I find a gun that's a lot like that gun that kind of keeps that relevant. So I don't know which way I would want the game to go. I think they would just have to try them both, see if there's a mix, see if there's something that works for them. Which way would you guys like it to go? That's an honest question for you guys down in the comments below. I don't know. I don't have any expectation of what Anthem needs to be. That's up to the people making Anthem. Now the next question is, I was wondering if there was talk about whether or not the game would support cross-platform. Let's just say you have an Xbox player and a PC player that play together. Can I log into your Xbox and pick up my character? Things like that. Cross-platform is a big question, and there are a lot of people who ask it a lot of different ways. Can I play with people who are on different platforms? Can I change platforms? How easy is it to pick my game up from somewhere else? These are all things that the way they build the structure matters. You look at games like Final Fantasy that we play a lot here on the channel, and I can play with people on other platforms, but I can't really jump platforms because my stuff doesn't transfer with me as far as like keybinds and macros and all of that. Then you look at World of Warcraft where it stores all your macros and stuff, so when you log back in, all of that stuff is there, minus like add-ons, but there's some settings folders that make that all really easy to transfer, but you're all bound to Mac PC. So if you have friends that play on console, it's not an option to join them. So there's a lot of different questions here, and he said, I started writing a reply, then I looked back at a different post that I wrote and think it's worded better than I'm able to manage right now. So let's go take a look at those. So 5 months ago, he said, generally there aren't a lot of technical reasons why this couldn't happen. It has more to do with what teams are able to negotiate, what the platforms are willing to allow. This is something we see with Final Fantasy, right? The reason it's not on Xbox. Somebody's putting the stop on that. There's a very good chance that's Sony, but I don't really have any proof that they're the single speed bump stopping this from happening. Though, as some are suggesting, there are sometimes design reasons why you might not want to allow it, mainly due to the differences in controls and hardware. And that is something that I think Final Fantasy does really well, right? I can switch from controller mode to keyboard mode on every platform. Brian plays with a controller on his computer, and I play with a keyboard on my PS4. I mean, we can swap at any time. So I think that's a great response, but that doesn't really go into too much. And so then 4 months ago, he says, well, let's take a look at an offline game. PC offline allows save sharing, but consoles don't. Some console players take achievements very seriously, so what's stopping somebody from making a PC save, transferring it to a console right before an achievement is unlocked? There is also the subject of exclusive content for a platform. I know people really hate these, but the reality is it exists, and that's a very honest response, right? Exclusives allow them to negotiate better deals. So as much as us as the gamers want everything on every platform, we also want these companies to continue to flourish so they can make more games for us, and exclusives are one of the things they can do to say thank you to a platform, right? To negotiate better terms with that platform. If it exists, mod support is another challenging thing. That's single-handedly why you see mod support in WoW to a different level than you do in Final Fantasy. As the two kind of big MMOs in my life, and this possibly being a new MMO for us, it's really frustrating as an end user to have mod support in WoW and then not mod support in Final Fantasy. But it's also really frustrating that my Final Fantasy, I can play cross-platform and I can jump, platform to platform and pick my characters back up. And then on WoW, I feel so tied, even though it remembers my macros. I don't have a whole bunch of computers I want to play on. So if I want to play on my TV with a controller, that's not really something that's easy to do. So I understand what he's saying here. So to suffice to say, even something as simple as taking from one platform to another has a bunch of potential issues that aren't immediately apparent. And this is the thing. At a big level, it's really easy to say, just give me the thing I want. But then these designers' job is to break that down into a series of small problems and then solve all of those. Because when the UI isn't right, or when the controllers don't feel natural, or when the server is laggy, these are all things that we get frustrated at and we put the game down. But those are just symptoms of a problem that was caused when they tried to tackle something they hadn't totally worked out all the details on. So I think that what he's trying to say here is it's not as easy as just flipping a switch and being on multiple platforms. And I would love to see Anthem be cross-platform, but if they can't do it well, then tie me to a platform. You know, if I can only play with other people on Xboxes, that's fine. I would always prefer cross-platform on every game. I would always prefer games to be platform agnostic in every way. Every achievement, every DLC, every piece of content, every release date. I would love them to be everywhere all the time. But the reality is there are many reasons why that's not always the case. And so we'll just have to see here with Anthem. And the last thing here is this is more recent news. This is kind of what made me dive down, and look at what is going on with Anthem right now. Casey Hudson comments, Drew Krapshin's departure from Bioware and the importance of story in Anthem. I'm curious about who the lead writers are. Kathleen and Jay are the lead writers, and so he's kind of just revealing their identities there. But Anthem fans were told kind of a day or two ago that story will always be an important of every Bioware game, and that makes you question kind of Drew Krapshin is a writer that a lot of people follow in the space. And so the question is, should we have concerns about Anthem because he left? We've seen this before. Just because somebody leaves doesn't mean a game's going to fall apart. People leave. That happens. If he wrote story, that's probably still around. They don't just throw his storyboards out. So I think that, in all honesty, paying attention to the people you like that work on a movie or a game is awesome. It's great to be able to kind of follow their career, use them as like a barometer on whether or not I'm going to like it. But people leave games for a lot of reasons. They leave companies for a lot of reasons. You might leave your job not because you hate your current job, but because you get offered something better or just different, right? You have a spouse that needs a different set of things from you. They need you to work different hours or work in a different part of the country or something like that. They need you to pick up health benefits so that they can pursue a career that maybe they're going to be dropping their health benefits. And so those are all things outside of your employer that may make you look for a new job. And so saying that a game is toast because somebody leaves, first of all, is an insult to any number of writers that are still on board or come on board from this point forward. Second of all, we don't know that the story isn't largely locked for now, that huge pieces of the story haven't been written. So I think it's good to be aware who's been on board, who's still on board, and who's no longer on board. But as far as whether or not that makes you buy the game, I wouldn't put a whole lot of stock into it. So that's kind of everything that's gone on recently with Anthem. I don't think that anything largely has changed. We still don't know the release date. We still would like to see a lot more gameplay. We still would like to see a lot more questions. I think a lot of this is going to come out with E3 this summer. I would love to see this be a winter release, but next spring would be fine too. And so we'll just have to see. What do you guys think about any of this or anything else you've seen? Please put those in the comments below. If you see some other news regarding this game, feel free to post that in the comments below. I would love to keep following this. I don't want to get overhyped so that the game has this impossible thing to live up to. But I am excited. I don't want to lose that. I want to be excited about this game. I want this to be a game that pushes into my life and I say, okay, how am I going to make more time for this? What in my life needs to change to make more time for this wonderful, amazing game that's been totally worth the wait? That's what I want. I don't know if that's what we'll get, but that's what I want. Thank you guys so much for watching. This has been Chris with Work to Game, and I will see you guys next time.
Hey, it's me. Thanks so much for watching this video. You should click here to subscribe and here to maybe check out some more of our videos. So again, thanks for watching. We hope you like this video. We hope you subscribe and join our community. Let us know in the comments below what you think, and we'll see you next time. Bye.